that right there is what I think a lot of people, I really want people to understand is, as an entrepreneur, like entrepreneurship, your job is to solve problems, to innovate and solve problems. The bigger the problems you solve, the more capital you get returned. It's value creation, right? And the skill sets that you develop as an entrepreneur are going to allow you to solve bigger problems, right? Like Elon Musk has a very, very high level skill set, right? Yeah. He understands high level problems like, engineering and things and all types of astrophysics, all types of shit,
So
right?
Talk about a multitask.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
All right, guys, listen, man. Welcome back to another episode of Cheat Code Unlocked. Man, we unlock the cheat codes to some of the dopest business skill sets and entrepreneurs out there in the space today. And today, we got the one, the only, the big dog, TRAV.
TRAV, man. Let's go. Legendary.
TRAV, man. You about to know TRAV. You should know TRAV. This guy is literally, I can't even count. Like,
man of many talents, man. This guy's got e-commerce brands. This guy's in tech. This guy's got brands that are worn by some of your favorite A-list celebrities. Kim Kardashian. You name it, man. This guy's done it all, man. So,
man, you guys make it sound real cool.
Bro,
you are the coolest, man.
You are the coolest.
I love it.
Yeah, man. The coolest, man. You have also been on the Real World.
Give you guys some cheat codes, hopefully help you a little bit. Help you on your journey of entrepreneurship,
1000%.
stock trading, crypto trading, buying NFTs,
everything, real estate, investing,
whatever it is. But I'm here to talk about building brands, telling stories, building community, and hopefully I can give you some cheat codes for all that.
For sure,
and welcome to San Diego.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, so let's hop into it, man. Like, let's start with just a background story, man. How you got started before, becoming an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur you are today, right? And how you got to, get into this entire field in general.
For sure. Well, I can take it back to when I first moved to San Diego.
Right.
All right. So I grew up in Irvine, California, which is not far away from here.
Okay.
My older brother's friends were really into fashion. And they started a clothing brand called LRG.
Oh,
and
man. LRG is legendary.
It's a dope brand, started in Irvine, right? Late 90s, like 97, I think that was the year my brother graduated and his friends started this clothing company.
Right.
And since I was younger than them, they were like looking to the youth to figure out how to influence the youth, and they were making screen printed t-shirts with slogans on them. You know? Like underground inventive, overground effective, create genes, not war, things that are relevant today, right? Like messaging. But way ahead of its time, and no one understood it. They didn't understand what deeper roots, stronger branches meant, right? They just saw a tree and a logo, right? So I kind of understood what they were doing, and I loved the style that they all had. It's like individuals. Jonas, the founder, was a DJ in Laguna Beach, and like I looked up to these guys. So the head of marketing's name was Kevin D. Kevin Delaney. Shout out Kevin. I wish someone could drop his name finally in a clip. This is for you, brother.
Yeah, this is for you.
So,
Shouts out.
Kev used to take me over to the warehouse and show me all the new clothes, and then like give me the samples. And all my friends would ask for it. So one day he decided, let's have like a closet sale. Let's do like a little warehouse sale. So I got some clothes from him, and we went over to my parents' house. Mind you, I'm like middle school. I handed out some flyers I printed on the computer, and I was like, come to my house and buy t-shirts for $5. So I laid out all these t-shirts on the ground with all these slogans and sayings.
Yard sale.
Brought a bunch of kids over, and everyone bought it, and everyone's rocking it. So they started sending me hoodies and stuff like that. I was into fashion, and I always wanted to be into like apparel. I came to San Diego State, fast forward a couple years, and they had sent me boxes of clothes to give out to people and like kind of like give it to tastemakers. Well, at the same time, fraternities were approaching me to try and rush their house, meaning like they wanted me to join their fraternity. And
I went through the same thing in college, actually.
And as like a part of that process, I got to see all of their like shirts. They had like these rush shirts, fraternities, sororities would walk around on campus, and like they don't look very cool. And I was like, where do you get cool shirts from? Where's the cool fraternity? So the one I wanted to join was called Sigma Chi, and I showed up to the rush event in clothes from that market. I was like, I'm gonna come bearing gifts, but Kevin wanted me to put this clothes on cool people, and they were cool people. So I was like, I need to do a double favor, right? So I bring these guys some clothes, and I come bearing gifts, and they identify me as like this clothing kid from OC. Oh, the fashion kid, right? Easy, it's like different. So I'm the kid who showed up with clothes to a rush event. Like number one cheat code,
number one.
Come bearing gifts.
Always go bearing gifts.
You want to do something add value up front. So I wanted to bring these guys something, and through that whole process of rushing the fraternity, I realized there really wasn't a cool place to make shirts in San Diego.
Right.
So I saw a problem,
Yeah.
and like the first little major cheat code of my life was like, hey, let's solve this problem.
Yeah, solve problems.
No problem.
That's
Massive.
massive.
So I go around to different screen printers. My buddy in my fraternity in my pledge class, he was a photographer and a designer, so we got together and decided that let's take some photos, let's design some t-shirts, and let's see what we can do. That process was not the easiest. No one in San Diego was reliable. They were late. Their stuff was wrong. The colors and sizing. So we went through this process of like realizing there really was no solution, and like our only solution was to do it ourselves. And we literally just did that. We ordered a screen press online, a one color. He had an apartment at the time. He was a sophomore. I was a freshman. We went into his kitchen, literally one block from here. Made printed t-shirts in his kitchen on the kitchen table and dried them on a pan in the open oven. It was 100 degrees in his kitchen. No AC. We were making shirts for our fraternity.
Any way possible.
We made some cool looking tees, and other people asked us, how do you get those shirts? So we acted like we had a business. I went to sorority house and I walked around, started hustling out of my backpack flyers that we print t-shirts. I don't want to tell the whole life story, but I'll fast forward. I grew that business. I got a warehouse down by San Diego State. I started printing t-shirts, hiring friends, getting better and better machinery, and consistently optimizing and improving. Started with manual presses, then I got automated presses, I had small dryers and flash dryers, and I got long 50-foot gas dryers. And I learned efficiencies, right? And I had to optimize what I was already doing so that we could produce more. We could make more t-shirts and take more clients.
You weren't even intending on starting a business. You just like
it turned into an opportunity that I did see. Okay, now I start a business, right? And so the first thing I did was figure out what I needed and made a plan. And I contacted one of my older brothers. I was like, I need like 15 grand. I need a loan, right? I need to start this printing company. And like, I'm gonna get this warehouse and sign this lease. And like, I'm 19, they ain't giving it to me. Like, I need to do it with my partner. So
that's dope that you had somebody.
I mean, even he was borrowing money at the time. But it was like, so you got access to capital and credit, so let's figure this out. Give me some credit cards, like whatever, right?
That's key. Other people's money, OPM.
And I'll get into that. But so just trying to move through this, but like the backstory is essentially I started manufacturing products, and then I eventually realized that outsourcing is better, right? And if I can start outsourcing products from overseas and getting them in volume, I get them cheaper. And if I store them here in my warehouse, which I have, and fulfill orders, then other people will essentially use me. And I was like, let's buy blank, let's buy hard goods, let's buy things, right? I end up getting bigger clients like Paris Hilton, and I essentially started sourcing hard goods. Like I made like glow sticks and sunglasses and hats.
So this is when Paris Hilton was like top.
Becoming a DJ. So I have to figure out how to ship stuff from literally China to Ibiza, right? So I'm like, let's just not rock this. It's like over there. So I started doing logistics. Fast forward, a friend of mine comes to me right after college and said, Joe, I want this watch. It's super cool. I grew up loving brands. I always wanted to have my own brand. I was like, I think I can make this.
Like that's just what TRAV does. It takes planning, dude. Like we preach to everyone else. You want that life, you got to design it. Now you got a business, so you got to design that lifestyle for that business. Like, what does that mean for you guys? Does that mean you're traveling and on the road, or does that mean people are coming to you in your studio? Or how does that actually translate to the metaverse? Is it how is this happening, right? So we all have to make decisions on how we want to enter Web3. You guys have your own decisions to make on how you want to do things. I think your university, you should have a university that has a digital access pass and that gets you access to different levels, which is essentially your non-fungible token. So you have an NFT access pass, which is now unlocking different things. And like it can unlock coaching, it can unlock consulting, it can unlock services. And then you have this brand that carries over everything that is this like high-end brand that people want access to. So they watch your free content in front of the paywall. But if they want to get access to you and get access to your events and get behind the paywall, they have to participate. That's the future of this stuff.
Definitely.
And then you guys already get it. You're virtually basically franchising yourselves online. It's like crazy, right? So you now take that business model and use the technology that exists to scale that infrastructure instead of trying to build it, which is literally the wave, right? Building brand around that. And that it like I'll tell a really quick story about my friend named Ilya.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
My friend Ilya took YouTube videos and aggregated them essentially. I'm gonna make this stupid simple, but aggregated them into categories like funny videos, cat videos, music videos, stuff like that. He launched a website, Pluto.tv. It was like free TV out of this world.
Pluto TV.
Yeah, you've heard of it now.
What?
So,
Yeah. What?
so he sold it to Viacom.
I was like, wait a minute.
I don't want to butcher the number,
Yeah.
but he sold it to Viacom for over $300 million. I think within 4 or 5 years. Okay.
By aggregating just videos from
and
online.
building tech to do linear programming of existing content, and then the next step of that, well, he did that first. The next step of that was going to studios who had vaults of content and saying, hey, we're gonna sell your content through advertisers to monetize. So we're free. They're gonna watch your content. There's gonna be ads. You're gonna get paid this CPM. We'll have this split. This is our game. He hired some salespeople, and he went and started getting like cone heads and like crazy content that was in vaults, right?
Yeah.
Through that process of making content deals with almost everyone except Disney and Viacom.
Right.
Viacom needed a streaming platform, and they wanted content partnerships, and they wanted to enter in the space. So, you know, he had a company, I don't know if the revenue was disclosed, but doing tens of millions that sold for hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
You know, and he aggregated and built a little bit of tech, not a little, but a lot, around the idea of streaming
Right.
free TV
Yeah.
and monetizing it. And like, I'm gonna be honest, like that was pretty ahead, and I don't think anyone really even saw it coming. I did. I was like, this is crazy, bro. You're arbitraging basically, like meaning he was driving traffic from like Twitter
Massive.
and then sending eyeballs, and it was costing him less to send it through organic, real methods than, you know, than advertisers would pay. So he built a business model, and like, to me, that is super impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
finding
massive.
opportunity, and like
find
YouTube didn't
opportunity.
have like channels like that.
Right.
And
Not
like,
at
created a
all.
website for it. So again, there's so many ways to skin the cat.
Right.
It's just identifying the problem, and then like he built a brand around it. You
No, I
know?
like that.
Yeah.
No,
One
no.
thing that really like I've always kind of like scratched my how do like in the process of people building brands and then going to sell it, right? Where can like people out there like that have companies that have businesses, successful businesses, where do they go to find people to essentially acquire their business or sell it to those guys? Like how does that process work?
Yeah, I mean, it's different every time, and it's based on the brand and
Right.
the industry. Like
Right.
specific with a brand, if you build some IP,
Right.
you're usually doing an asset transfer agreement where they're buying out your trademark,
Right.
logo, social assets, email list, stuff like that.
Right.
Not necessarily your whole company.
Right.
You can do that too, where they buy your company and get the asset transfer agreement. But I think in terms of like trying to find the right buyer for your business, kind of have to work backwards and figure out who the buyer is for the business.
Right.
Sometimes, if you really are planning on selling it, like
So
who the
usually
ideal-
you find the buyer. The buyer.
well, you'll
doesn't
know
find-
who they are. Like you'll
Right.
know if you build a property tech company that you want
Right.
to sell it to X, Y, or Z company,
Yeah.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So like if it's a big unicorn type thing, there's only
Yeah.
so many buyers.
Exactly.
If it's a smaller company, you just need to find someone that would benefit from the thing you built.
Most,
Like
And there's business brokers and stuff like that, right?
yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
brokers
I mean-
for it, but in any business deal, they have to be organic. When I sold
Right.
my NFT tech, charity tech,
Right.
my NFT project, Charity Pops,
Yeah.
that was because a company that was building charity tech didn't have a Web3 brand, and they didn't know how to enter into the space. So it made sense for them
To acquire.
to acquire a brand that had already had success and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity with that name, so that they could then introduce their platform and their token to that audience, and then eventually switch it over, which is we're in the process of.
Yeah,
Right.
let's talk about that. So, so charity. It was called Charity Pop.
Charity Pops.
Charity Pop. So what was Charity Pops? What did it look like? What was the thought process behind it? And how did you start it?
Yeah, I mean, so early on, I was starting to collect NFTs and saw that, there was a huge market for it, especially being in e-commerce and
Right.
dealing with counterfeit stuff and authenticating ownership. All that,
Yeah.
right. So I already kind of wanted to get into the NFT space, but I didn't want to make my brand an NFT. So I was like, how can I take this business model and sell digital artwork that represents different charities and donate to them on the blockchain? So the actual utility was like, how do I sell artwork and donate in crypto? People
Right.
thought it was crazy. They're like,
Yeah.
damn, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna work.
Right.
I mean, fast forward to last week, 70 million to Ukraine in NFT sales, right?
Yeah.
Man,
So,
yeah.
first ever charity NFT project, right? I create this thing called Charity Pops. I partner with 5 different organizations, one of them Dan Fleischman, and I go in and do these activations where we're doing NFTs that represent their charity, and we're donating money on the blockchain. I'd raise the money, but don't know how to donate it. So I reached out to this guy named Rishi, who's a co-founder of a company named Create Music, who figured out real-time streaming and real-time payouts. So he is already building a philanthropy platform, and I got introduced to him through a friend, and I was like, well, maybe you could help me donate to these charities. We came up with a solution. We figured out how much it was going to cost, made a plan, and he ended up acquiring the company, brought me on board in the cash and stock deal. So 60 days after it actually launched, they bought it. And now I am working with them on launching an impact token and a DAO and all these great things for charities, so we can have a relief fund and like make larger impact. But to this date, we've raised over $250,000 for charity.
That's amazing.
Wow.
We've launched a platform now and a Shopify app, and it connects to over 200,000 charities through Generaise through our partnership with change.org. So anyone can sell NFTs or products and get back to charity transparently. So
yeah, man. So you guys are just basically taking, utilizing technology to its fullest, what's available to you to create a solution to a problem that you guys,
keep identifying more and more problems. I mean, all of them have come about because it's like, hey, I wish I had a brand like this, or I wish I had a place to eat like that, or why isn't there a place to make shirts like this? Like, why can't you get a high-end real estate house 3 blocks from the beach here that's actually cool and like treats you like a hotel? Have those too.
And so that right there is what I think a lot of people, I really want people to understand is, as an entrepreneur, like entrepreneurship, your job is to solve problems, to innovate and solve problems. The bigger the problems you solve, the more capital you get returned. It's value creation, right? And the skill sets that you develop as an entrepreneur are going to allow you to solve bigger problems, right? Like Elon Musk has a very, very high level skill set, right? He understands high level problems like engineering and things and all types of astrophysics, all types of shit.
So crazy. Right? Talk about a multitask.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Literally.
And so, like, the larger your skill set is, right, the better you are at being able to create solutions to problems, and you essentially, like I said, receive the value back in terms of compensation. And so I'm listening to you talk, and I'm understanding the process of like how you kind of got into. I mean, even very early on, starting the t-shirt business. I mean, that is, your way of solving a problem that you saw in that space. It wasn't like, hey, I want to make a bunch of money, let me start a t-shirt business, right?
Bro, I've never started a company and thought about the money. I basically started them for no money, like scraps.
Exactly.
And then I get the idea going, and then someone else with more money comes along and goes, yo, this is a great idea. We should blow it up. I'll give you some money. I'm like, let's do it.
Because you're
solving
solving
a problem.
OPM, because you're solving a problem. And that's what I really want people to understand about in this particular conversation. It's like everything that we're talking about here is you solving a problem, right? And it being such a good problem to solve that people want to, because even when you're talking about a watch, right? Like the watch, it's a plastic watch. Cool. The people out there that can knock it off. It's not the product, right? It's the solving of the problem that you were doing through solving the problem of charities and being able to give back to charities.
I mean, I'll tie it into one thing too. Like the only reason that Marcus recruited me to come work with him is because I knew e-commerce, right? So I knew that going in. I was like, hey, I know funnel marketing. I'm working on this stuff. I don't see you doing this for your footwear company or your candy company. I can help you with that. But the day I met him, and he said, you're a sales and marketing company, not a watch company. It's on the show. And I'm like, So basically he's like, cool, let's get an office to show him and you could do my sales and marketing. I was like, perfect, let's do e-com. And he brings Russell Brunson in to train me and build me $1 million funnel on TV. And I get to work with ClickFunnels in like the infant stages, and Russell sends me the certification. And I go through it all,
Speaking of Russell, he owes us a 2 Comma Club award. We gotta go get that.
And I feel like both ends could feel just as good, because sometimes you have a vision and you have the passion and the love to see, or the desire to see the company at the very top.
I'll tell you what. I launched Flex NFTs recently because it's a way for me to do like an inner circle, right? The first pre-sale was a Genesis collection, 100 holders that I personally contacted. And in there, like a lot of the stories I told, people I shouted out are in the Flex fam. So those 100 Genesis holders, whether it's Umar, who owns Pretty Little Thing, or Dan Fleischman, or Travis Bott from the Meta Bounty Hunters, or Sean Kelly, like it goes on and on and on. Like some of the top people in the NFT space are holding my NFTs. So when I now go build the community in the whitelist, it's private mint, closed off. There's no hype. It's just like, this is who we have. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. You're going to authenticate. You're going to own this. You'll get access to learning. You get access to airdrops. You get access to events. Right? It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So this NFT project is my thing. I own Flex. It's an 11-year-old company, but like I'm in the Discord. I'm building this community. I know the 100 people who are going to turn into the 1,000. I'm looking at every single person who gets whitelisted. I'm looking at their Instagrams. I'm following them back. I'm like trying to build the strongest community of NFT holders. And the reason I'm doing that is because I feel that I am the gateway for a lot of these people to physical products and connecting Web 2 and Web 3 and being the bridge. So if I can be there for all these guys and plug them in with Shopify and Solana and other resources that I have, then our community, the Flex NFT community, will
automatically be valuable.
Will automatically be valuable. Like what ends up happening is that people won't want to sell that because they want to be part of that, and it's not just about the watch. So like you said it already, it's like, bro, you could do an NFT, you could do a charity watch. It's never going to be about the watch, bro. It's going to be about the story that I'm telling and what marketing we're doing and content, and makes the way it makes you feel, and then what what you buy into, right? 100%. And then what happens when you build a brand the right way is people who buy into your brand become advocates, and they tell your story. 100%. And if someone can repeat your story for you, 1-to-1, you're viral. If one person can leave and be like, oh yeah, they sell watches that give back to charity, or they make NFTs, the physical NFT lets you claim your physical watch, and they make dreams come true. Charlie Rocket, the Dream Machine Foundation, check it out, all right here. If it's that clear, and people are like, cool, how did he do the physical product part? Oh, this is how. Oh, how did he do the charity part? Oh, this platform, that's how. How did he do the two where they claimed the token and they got their thing? KYC process. Here's the landing page. Here's where they went and connect their wallet and did the KYC. It's called Know Your Investor, right? So like you got to figure out these steps for people and be the first and be willing to fail forward, so that when your 100-piece Genesis drop closes on the mint, and then you go back to relaunch your thing 3 weeks later, it's all part of the plan and the story, versus someone saying, they closed their mint, he couldn't sell any NFTs because that FUD existed, and I was like, nah, bro, this is all private, this is all intentional, you know? People are like, I bought this NFT, there's no hype, and it's like, yeah, you bought the wrong NFT, fool. You know? But like 1000%. Educating people on that stuff and like setting expectations for people is super important, and telling them about the plans and like including them in the plans and bringing them along on the journey is going to make a stronger community, so that when I'm not there in the Discord in a year and there's 10,000, 100,000 people, what's that conversation look like? What are they saying? Positive things about the brand?
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's so crazy you said that. That's exactly what happened with our brand. Like we were in our community we started a Discord from 16 people. We went from 16 people to 18,000 in like 8 months. You know what I mean? And we were hands-on every single day teaching for free.
You have 18K in your Discord?
Yeah. 18,000, bro.
Yo, you all in the Discord are
Shout
so
out to the
lucky.
Cheat Code community.
Yo, Cheat Code Discord is popping with 18,000.
Literally.
I mean, the future of media is decentralized media, and it's on servers like Discord. You guys having a server that big with captive audience, doing the revenue that I know you're doing right now, are a way fucking bigger company if you just get your branding down, your storytelling down, your content calendar down. Oh, bro, that's the thing.
We don't see it like that.
You need to start. You need to remove those like preconceived notions or other boundaries that you put on yourself and say, cool, this is the ceiling. Cool, that's the new floor. Like, what's the end goal? Cool, that's where we're starting. Like, what do we need to get there? Cool, let's start there. Well, they always say it like takes just as much effort to just think small, right?
Exactly.
So why think about the bottom when you can think about the top?
100%.
And just build for that and know where you're building. It's okay if it takes 3 to 5 years. If you have a plan, you're sticking to it, and you're delivering on your promises and your roadmaps or whatever it is.
We have programs from it's 24/7. First off, we have classes that happen like 2 a.m, live trading. We have, it's crazy stuff.
They buy NFTs, your crew?
Oh, dude, they have NFT buying parties. Like our crypto community inside our Discord, like they do crypto buying parties. Shout out to Mac and Tony. Shout out to Mac and Tony. Shout out to Pablo Molina. Shout out to Bucky Dollar, man. All the whole crypto admin team, man. They do amazing job of
so sick.
Man.
You guys have your own launchpad already built into your whole ecosystem, and you can have your own NFT pass.
Like, we're working on it, man.
You have to be. If you're not,
because we've not even.
It's scratching the surface. And also, it ain't like, because you guys are so positioned well, right? Like, You look at other like 1 or 2 decentralized radio stations, platforms, or media companies that are out there that are doing this. They're using Twitter Spaces. They're not building their own tech.
No.
They're not truly decentralized, right? So if you can create it in a manner where you do deliver some exclusive content in a decentralized manner, I mean, that could be the next level. Like, I'm not saying it would be like, anything weird behind that paywall, but like you could do some really next level stuff.
For sure.
You can then afford to pay more for the content, and travel and give these guys better stuff to watch. That's part of it that people don't understand. So when they start to invest in the company and see the results and they see higher growth and they see your Discord go from 18 to 25,000 and 100 whitelist spots for Flex NFTs because they're in that community and now they get to join these people, right? When you start, I'll do that, by the way. I have 100 left.
Oh, let's do it.
Meta Bounty Hunters, Metapreneurs, and my personal network from Charity Pops took every spot, and I was going to fill 100 today. I was going to pick with my team. If your community buys NFTs, I will let you guys have those spots, and you can whitelist 100 people.
We will buy. They'll get the whole. They will buy all of it.
I already know. I can already tell
all of it.
I can already tell. Just like pass. Gets you access to that exclusive channel in your Discord where they use Collabland to verify. Those drops and those whitelists happen in there, and they happen way earlier. So by the time that starts getting out there and things are happening, they are in. They're locked in. There's no gas wars. They go mint when they want. Your 100 people will just go do their thing at leisure. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling the other people to do it in the stages too. I have no more than 200 people minting at a time, and your 100 commit with my 100 or whatever. So like I have it controlled, and like a lot of what people are doing in this industry is like sell out, cash grab. And it's like, okay, then what?
Bro. Like that's the thing. It's that's the thing. Listen, I was around during the ICO craze. Oh, you remember that? Like in 2017, 2018, that was what all it was. And it feels just like that. I mean, like back then, there were really quality projects that came out ICO, right? I remember Zilliqa and some really dope projects that's still around today.
And that's the mentality, man. That's the mentality that gets people far. A lot of people, like, the never stop learning mentality is something that, I mean, like, you can't make it up. It's not something that you can learn. It's really something that you just have to observe and just like be able to learn from others, right? It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter if you feel like, you know, you're not up to par. You could be making $1 million. Somebody's making 2 million. You could be making 20 million. Somebody's making 22 million. You know what I mean? So the ladder just keeps going up and up and up. So you never stop learning. Literally, skill set acquisition and the mentality to keep learning is probably something that will always keep you rising above every single day. Because if you're better than just you were the day before you woke up, you're already a step ahead of where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? So definitely major key.
Getting life advice right now, man.
That's it.
I love this community, man. I'm being Discord tonight. Be like,
bro,
definitely.
pop in, bro. Just a different
awesome,
experience
dude.
at Chico, man.
I love that you guys are building community and doing it the way you're doing it. So you don't have to think about being here. You know, when you know you can be there.
1000%.
And so it's like for everyone, like what's the cheat code on life?
Right.
It's just think big. And
Think
put in
big.
the work.
Think big,
And
bro.
find people to do the work that are good at what they do and better at what you better than you. Like, cool,
Team.
I'm a 7 or an 8 at like 10 things.
Right.
I'm literally like a 10 at one thing.
Right.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? And that's being the quarterback and getting the team together and being the orchestra or whatever. Seeing the vision and getting everyone together and motivating, inspiring, and serving those people so that they get the job done.
1000%.
You know?
That's
I like that a lot, man. You dropped some major ones on us.
Major cheat codes, man.
Like all the way through and through, man. Like
Has it already been an hour?
I don't know, man. I mean, we can keep it going.
I bet you have.
Honestly.
Damn, that's crazy.
Nah, man. Oh, that's amateur time, man. We gotta keep it going, man. I was about to say, it feels like pushing on 140.
Oh, it's 2 hours.
That's a banger right there, man.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
a banger.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's what happens when you have a good conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say it went
1000%.
quick, but by the time I thought about it, I was like, we're already on the real estate, and that's what I'm doing now. I talk about building brands. To build a brand, you need a process.
Right.
And that process needs to be super fucking clear. And everyone on your team needs to know where they're at in that process. So you can create those tasks and delegate them and then just kind of like, you know, manage that whole thing by, like I said, MBO, right? Manage by objective, and people have their key results.
Right.
So as long as you're delivering on your key results and you have a vision for where you're going, you know, and you show up and put in the work and you service other people, you will get where you're going, like you want to go. But the second that you say like, this person has this and I don't, or start making excuses for yourself because you can't do this or that, that's where it's a slippery slope and it's a race to the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to stay motivated. You got to be like yourself motivated, not other people. You got to be optimistic about things, and you have to believe in yourself to a point potentially that you look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
people don't see the vision
Don't see
until
what you see. Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we fail because we stop. And in this game, it's just like, it's just keep it moving, you know? So my whole thing is just like keep it moving and tell that story and build your brand. And through all of that, like you'll find a way to make what you're doing successful because your people will be there to help you and support you.
100%.
Yeah, man.
Nah, that's a banger, man. Like, look, you know, everything that you said just now is like, it's like, damn, I'm like, man, this guy's talking directly to me because I'm like, everything you're saying is exactly what we have been going through as entrepreneurs ourselves, and I'm sure thousands
A lot of
other
people
entrepreneurs,
that are gonna see this.
All of us go
yeah,
through this.
they all
man.
go through it, man. It's like it's the same story over, you know, being told, and I mean, it's, you know, once you have figured that out, you know, it's like everything else should open up. I mean, especially your time, you know, because when I see what you're talking about with the way you built your business and your model, it's like, man, if you're able to implement that successfully across any of your visions that you're trying to achieve, you can replicate things so quickly. You can you own your time back, right? Which is a part of one of the most important things to most entrepreneurs, or it should be to most entrepreneurs, is ownership of your time.
Do you know what my
while still
tagline
executing
is?
vision.
Yeah. Let's hear.
Time to make a difference because I want I own a watch company.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm big on time.
Right.
I want all my time back because I
Facts.
want to use my time to make a difference.
100%.
So that's pretty easy to see when I'm like, hey, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I pick this? Should I pick that?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
always
massive.
saying like, all right, guys, it's time to make a difference.
Yeah.
All right, we just launched Flexing the Tees. Time to make a difference.
Yeah.
Right? So charity pot's time. And it's, for me, it's like it's always having that vision and like be able to point back to, and like some entrepreneurs have that anxiety, depression thing going, and it's not easy. And a lot of times you're alone.
Right.
And people aren't there to support your vision until they're there.
Right.
They're not there until they're not there to cheer for you while
During those
during-
lows. Yeah.
so they'll be there to clap after.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think something you have to remember is that like it does take a strong individual, and like even if you feel so good about your business and you're gonna grind it out and work so hard, and you could burn yourself out at that point, right?
Yeah.
You literally have to take the time to make sure that all the effort and all the energy and everything you're putting in isn't fucking you up personally.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Because if you can't control the vision and you take on too much and it's not focused and clear, then like you're your own worst enemy. You're in your own way.
1000%. Yeah.
Right? So I think just like really tying this all together, like being focused and having like clarity comes with having like somewhat good mental health.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have like a vision of where you're at when things aren't going well, right? And so entrepreneurs who struggle like and have to fail forward, it's always like getting through that adversity that makes you stronger, that gets you to that next thing, which are now all parts of my story. Like literally those are all brick by brick by brick by brick, where you've heard me now literally, you know, we went from clicks to bricks.
Yeah.
You're sitting in my place. We
Yeah.
had real estate. I was on the internet before, right?
Yeah.
So that was a vision that we had. And like it wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
1000%.
There was
Yeah.
really low times, bro. You could like you could watch on TV me crying, and that's the thing is like you don't see when the entrepreneur is $100,000 in debt and needs help,
Yeah.
and when they're crying
Oh,
because their
yeah.
friends lost their mom and you can't
Oh,
pay the
yeah.
bills, and if this guy doesn't write you a check tonight, I don't know how to make payroll tomorrow.
For sure.
So when you're in that state, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
most
it's
people aren't gonna
overwhelming.
see it.
Yeah.
Most people see it now because they saw it on TV with
Oh,
me,
yeah.
the
Right.
vulnerability and all that stuff. So they like me because I'm like relatable.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you're that guy that was crying on TV and
Yeah.
Marcus helped
Yeah.
fix, right?
Right.
So I think that's just important, man. It's just staying focused, taking care of yourself. Like don't prevent burnout by any
Yeah.
means necessary.
Right.
And you know what? I'll tell you, man. I think that, you know, and we touch on this a little bit before we start shooting, but the fact that your journey, you know, those lows were documented, right, on TV is actually a blessing, man. Because one thing that, you know, we talk about a lot is in our story, even telling our personal stories as, you know, as we kind of growing in entrepreneurship, it's like when we met each other, you know, at the time that I met him, I was down. I just lost everything in real estate. I lost $220,000 in crypto. Went from 5,000 to 250 in crypto. Trading on BitMEX, leverage, you know,
Over
contracts. Lost $220,000 in a day.
Yeah.
Lost all my real estate projects. I had 5 houses I was flipping at the same time. I owed $120,000 up to investors personally and hard money loans on top of that, right? And lost everything. I had to go from ground zero to, I was picking up scooters on the side of the road to charge them at his like leasing building that he owned, and like had to rebuild.
What you weren't
everything.
doing was making excuses.
Nope.
I mean, I wasn't, but I mean, I had no choice. It was like
Right.
you
could
gotta
have
get
made
it.
excuses.
Yeah,
you
You could have taken money from the
Definitely
government
could've.
and stayed home like
Yeah.
99% of people.
Yeah,
You could.
that's a
You
fact.
could. But you know, it was one of those things where it's like, yo, you know, I'm just not that kind. So I'm just like, yo, I'm just gonna go ahead and crank this out. But the problem was, the problem is now, not even a problem. Something that I face now is like, all right, just like, how do I even tell like people? That's something that I really want people to know, and I just have to really kind of be more cognizant and conscious of telling that story. Whereas like you kind of had that, it was there, right? And people see that all over, and
I don't have
it's
to
like,
talk about it. It's
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was there, and people like can watch the journey and the process. Whereas like sometimes for entrepreneurs, it's like, yo, that happens quietly. You just hold that. There's thousands of people that are touched on a daily basis, and like that story is just like, yo, it's like you have no idea. And you have no, and people are like, oh, you're doing so well, and you're getting all these like likes and claps and accolades, and it's just like you like people, especially people that you know.
Right.
It's like you motherfuckers have no idea.
Right.
What you know
Right.
you had to go through nights that you had.
Especially when
you know?
people think it's just like everything was just laid out for you.
Yeah.
It was easy for you to get to where you are.
No, after we did it was like 10 projects on at NFT and at Wealth like every other day. that
Right,
we
right,
donated.
right, right.
It's like, yeah. They weren't charity projects. They were like projects that wanted to donate. But
Right.
we started a brand for charity. Literally
Right.
has the name in it, Charity Pops.
Right.
And the first one were pops, like they look
Yeah,
like
yeah,
candy,
yeah.
the different animals or food, whatever, that represent
Right.
the cause. But it was real. And this one is soda cans, pop,
Yeah.
different recycled
Yeah,
cans
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
environment. But the whole idea is pop art for charity, and charity makes shit pop.
Oh man.
So it wasn't like, it was like shit's popping.
already there.
I always
Yeah.
say what's popping.
What's
I always
poppin'?
say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Hey, what up, pop fam? I say
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
it's super easy for me.
Like it was
On
already
Discord,
there.
I was
Yeah.
always what's popping. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, charity pops.
Yeah.
Bunch of pop stuff, and then like play on words, and just
Yeah.
like recycled cans or soda pop. We picked our favorite cans, represents the environment, gives
Right.
back, like all those
Tie into
things.
all the
it all
story,
ties in.
yeah.
It's artwork that actually represent the environment, you know,
Right.
not some PFP or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Nah, that's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
there's so much to talk about and so
Yeah.
much to unpack that we're gonna have to just
There's
maybe we
no
do an
budget.
AMA as a follow up in Discord.
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
bro.
honestly.
We do like a
Fucking dope. I
30-minute
Yeah.
ask us anything.
Yeah,
that'd be
facts.
really dope. I would
And maybe
actually-
that's a
that
cool
could be
idea.
Utility for the
Yeah, I was-
Exactly.
Same minds, yeah.
Same minds. Thinking like that's a
Yeah.
great utility,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
After the podcast, you go into the private
Amen.
Discord. You get to submit your questions.
Yeah.
After you get
Yeah.
the questions, you get to vet them, and then after you give a shout out to the person, and if they're part of the community and still
Yep.
holding, you'll shout out their NFT ID and their Instagram handle.
Yeah, man.
So they all want to post and tag you.
Right.
Yeah,
All of you.
It's over.
let's go.
We want to
Cheers.
build this community. I want to
Yeah.
be part of it. I'm excited to
Yeah.
be here.
Let's
and
do
like,
it.
I appreciate you guys coming.
Most
I'm
definitely.
definitely probably late to my dinner meeting, but
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
man,
way worth
sorry,
it. No,
yeah.
that was a joke.
Hey man.
I'm kidding.
But
Well, look, man. So this part of the episode, definitely, you know, we all always call this shameless plug time.
Yeah.
So I want to, you know, anywhere for anybody watching this or listening to this,
Yeah.
how can people find you, interact with you, get anything like from you as far as like
All
you
things
know,
Trav.
Sure, all things
yeah.
Trav. I mean, probably the easiest is home base would be travbrand.com. It's my website.
TRAVbrand.com.
It links out
TRAVbrand.com.
TRAVBRAND. It links out to all my socials, which are at Trav, as well as my brands and businesses, and you can
Right.
contact me there as well as like apply to work with one of my companies. So that's probably a good base. And then like just in terms of clicking through and checking out what I do, go check out Flex Watches. It's flexwatches.com.
let's
Out
watch
of
it.
Rock
That,
Nation,
give me a
those
that
guys.
links to the
Yeah.
NFT page, and the NFT page links to the Minter. So
Gotcha.
all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
all that ecosystem is
Yeah,
interconnected.
Got you. Got you.
But I want to see you guys on social, so send me DMs. I
Yeah.
want to
Yep,
hear from
for
you.
sure.
At Trav, man.
At Trav, at
Trav.
TRAV,
There's
man.
only
You can't
one.
miss him. There's
You
only
got,
one.
you know, got to secure that trademark, and then you can claim your handle.
Yeah,
Cheat
secure
code.
There you
cheat
go.
code,
There you
man.
go. Oh,
Cheat code,
shit.
man. Secure that. There's gonna be a part 2, man. We can't
Yeah, I know.
All right,
I know.
this
All
is
right.
the to be continued.
To be
part.
continued, man.
Go get your
sure.
trademark filed.
Let's
For
go.
sure,
man.
man.
All right, you guys. This is Trav, man, with the cheat code to goddamn
Everything.
to everything tech and
Branding.
brand building. You know, happy to have you, man. Again, overwhelmed.
Definitely,
I'm excited, and I'm definitely looking forward to part 2 or anything else that we could do together, man.
For sure.
So as always, you guys, make sure that you
tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend,
to tell a motherfucking friend, man. Let's go. She code unlocked, man.